So here we are with Mr. Willis. First time when you had a conversation with China.
I didn't know what it meant, what it looked like, what it smelled like.
We are talking about 90s, right? Is it?
Late 90s. All the buildings on the Bund were abandoned and empty. Salad. No one could eat salad because it was uncooked food. Starbucks opened, I think, 60 coffee shops on one day. China went from zero coffee to coffee.
Leaving to eat or eating to leave?
I love tofu.
You like tofu? The only foreigner that probably likes tofu.
xiaolongbao, what is it? Ji Tai.
韭菜.
I'm terrible at this. And watching someone do that stuff, again, it's repetition.
Was it Bruce Lee saying like I practice one kick 1,000 times instead of 1,000 different kicks?
听得懂吗?
Everybody who lives in China, we age faster here.
Can't remember what I did in the morning.
Why would you have avocado salad in Shanghainese cuisine?
Once the local people understand something, they embrace it. Fusion can be confusion. Classic Shanghainese food in a famous old restaurant like Jessie, it really doesn't change. An Italian restaurant in Italy, food never changes. The mama doesn't go, I'm going to make a new dish with avocado. We take all the bones out, we package things, we made it easy to eat. In China, you put the bones back in. They don't expect food to be easy so much. There is so many different kinds of Chinese food.
We are in a country where Feng Shui means a lot.
We've closed 3 or 4 restaurants. They never worked. They were in the wrong place.
Are you having bad days? You know, you put more salt than necessary.
I get really frustrated. The name restaurant comes from to restore. People expect a lot from restaurant.
They do.
Hey, relax. Lean with the bamboo. You've got to be a bit flexible. If your customer doesn't want what you've got, it's not going to work. So they've got to be responsive to your idea. That's what you need to understand, I think.
So here we are with Mr. Willis, someone I know for quite a long time. And a lot of people probably know from a food scene in Shanghai, has been here for many years. Brought up a lot of interesting food concepts and casual dining, but at the same time, always kept the authenticity. That's the word. Thank you so much for being here today.
You're welcome.
First time when you had a conversation with China.
Conversation. We knew nothing about China. 25 years ago, before I came, I was working in the Opera House in Sydney, and some friends had been working in Hong Kong. It was something I couldn't imagine. I didn't know what it meant, what it looked like, what it smelled like. I had no sense of what China was. And I came to work for M on the Bund, and Michelle had asked often, would you be interested to come?
Hi, Michelle.
Why? It's not Paris, it's China.
We are talking about 90s, right? Is it?
Late 90s. And then when I came, I just fell in love with it. It was romantic, it was old, it was new. There's a lot of craft. They were building extensions to the restaurant. All the doors were handmade from completely construction on site. So this kind of sense of craft and using your hands and cooking in China, everyone can still cook. The waitresses would come in and pull the eels apart because the boy chefs were too scared to do it. But the girls were like, this has got to be done if we're going to eat it. I think it took 3 months to realize the building was empty. All the buildings on the Bund were abandoned and empty, or they were being used for storage, or they had broken windows. And Michelle chose that for her restaurant at a time where everyone said no one will drive that far to go to a restaurant. It wasn't the heart of the city. It had an old world romance, but then it has this power of change and planning and where it wants to be, what it wants to be, and it makes that decision and it goes there.
Did you have a struggle of explaining your concept to people?
Over the 25 years I've been here, there have been so many changes. Salad. No one could eat salad, and if they did, they'd be sick.
I see, because it's cold food.
Because it was uncooked food. Even water had to be boiled. You wouldn't drink a cold drink. I was showing my family around the waterfront, and we ended up, I think, in the Peace Hotel looking for coffee. And it was the Blue Mountains drip coffee, probably from 3 days before, for 80 kwai or something. This is like 2000. There was no coffee. And then Starbucks opened, I think, 60 coffee shops on one day.
Oh, really?
China went from zero coffee to coffee. Chinese won't drink coffee. You know, they drink tea. Why would they drink coffee? Now look, every street, every back street, every lane, it's gone coffee crazy. Before we did a lot of eggs for brunch. Like I remember just egg, just calling and calling and calling. Salmon, egg, bacon, egg, egg. But now people don't really buy eggs at Willis. But why would you spend that kind of money on 2 eggs when you can go to a coffee shop? So now they'll have prawns or lobster or oysters for brunch at Mr. Willis. So the progression is always changing.
Simple example, but having avocados in Shanghai. I didn't even know it existed when I arrived in 2009. And then later on, avocado salads appeared in a Chinese restaurant. Why would you have avocado salad in Shanghainese cuisine? So this is just a simple example.
I mean, I'm so interested now to see what the next 10 years is.
What is your prediction?
I have no idea. I could never predict. I mean, I thought it was crazy that Waggers wanted to have 3 shops. So like, what are these people? You know, megalomaniacs? Why would you have 3 shops? No one in Sydney had 3 shops and they worked. Once the local people understand something, they embrace it. It's just finding that beginning point of like the education.
I usually joke and say everybody who lives in China, we age faster here because you think like your 5 years here is equal to 10, 15 years abroad.
I can't remember what I did in the morning, in the afternoon.
Yeah. People think we have bad memory, but it's because it's just too many things are happening.
China changes. You know, it has this trick. You go on holidays for 1 week and you come back and the 3 things you used to do on the way to work are gone or changed, or this rapid sort of movement. People in the West, you know, my Australian friends have no idea of China or business in China or what it can offer you. That idea that like how many light bulbs does China need? How many bunches of coriander every morning is consumed? How many baozi are made? You know, my hometown's only 10,000 people. A third of them would be children and a third would be too old to work. You know, so that takes you back to like 3,000 actual working people who would eat lunch. Shanghai, 25 million people walking past the door of your restaurant. As long as you do something good,
there must be somebody consuming it.
Somebody who's gonna like it and want it.
Fusion, that word has been in our life for too long now, including like all kinds of forms of art. At least in music, for me, fusion is something that I cannot generalize. Like I cannot say it's classical, it's jazz. It's something I don't beautifully understand or like just simply don't understand. And food is also the mixture of everything you call the fusion, which is such a trendy concept at the moment.
Fusion can be confusion.
Somebody said out loud, finally.
Classic, say, Shanghainese food in a famous old restaurant like Jessie, it really doesn't change. An Italian restaurant in Italy, the food never changes. The mama doesn't go, I'm going to make a new dish with avocado. You know, like, it's just the classics they always do. For me, fusion food classically was a combination of Japanese and French. So it wasn't this just anything, I'm going to add avocado to xiaolongbao, or a bit like musical instruments. I mean, violins still are the same. There's some electronic ones, some made of glass, but they might do a modern job, but they don't play the old music the right way. There's the old and the new, but the old classic things will continue. xiaolongbao will always be around.
Without avocado. When you craft your menus, you have to adjust somehow for the local market.
You definitely. Michelle taught me that very much. At Benelong in the Opera House, we take all the bones out, we package things, we made it easy to eat. In China, you put the bones back in. People want to be able to get the flavor from the bones. They know how to eat food with bones. It's one simple example. They love a big stew of fish and seafood and taking time to eat it and to peel prawns. And they don't expect food to be easy so much, but it must be delicious and good quality. They know far more about food than I do. You know, they're much more astute on whether it's the right price, whether it's fresh, whether it's been cooked properly. They know far more than me. They used to complain about the steaks, and I would say, what do you know? It's Australian beef. It's really good. And then I tried some better beef and went, oh, you're right. So they've taught me more than I've taught them, I think, the customers. One of the consistent parts of Willis is that I'm still there, and that I still every day go, that's not in the right place. That's not in the right place. This needs to be done. And that's what's given it its longevity. If I was an employee, maybe after 2 years, I would have decided to go somewhere else. But because I'm a partner in the restaurant, it's all of my life. It's how I live my life. Shanghai's still the center of my life.
Our daily life, we cannot imagine not having Asian food. And it's probably became a very trendy in the world also, Chinese food. Also, you see Hai Di Lao, the hot pot everywhere in the world. And then it's sort of like a form of soft power.
I think Chinese food is most interesting thing about it at the moment is, say, for Australia and probably America as well, our Chinese immigrants were like 1900, 1890s in the gold rush in Australia, and they were all mostly sort of southern Chinese. So all the Chinese restaurants in Australia tend to be a Cantonese base. And then like all restaurants, the food changes to suit the customer. So in Australia, this kind of food it's called a stir fry, which means you take this big sort of pan, a wok, and you put a handful of onion and a handful of broccoli and a handful of carrot, and it all gets mushed around. And then it could be chicken, beef, or prawn, and it could be black bean, sesame, or peanut. It's like this weird sort of box of ingredients, and it's all the same. It has nothing to do with Chinese food.
It's a lot of misunderstanding about it. The ones that you always see, that sweet and sour pork, pineapple chicken, it's another pineapple issue over here.
What I think is exciting about Chinese food now, in terms of Western interpretation, but also in Shanghai, the regional food, there is so many different kinds of Chinese food. And not only like in Sydney, there's many a Sichuan restaurant now, there's, many different kinds. But also there's this new emergence of young, high quality cooking. I mean, a lot of the restaurants in 2000 were just that kind of simple, oily, feeding people, plastic stools, not cleaned very well. Now you're seeing high quality restaurants just focusing on one region of China. And that's super exciting. I mean, Shanghai's a port city. So think about New York, think about London, there's always been people from different countries. There's always been things coming and going, import, export.
Also, as you say, like original little bistros, they call now, when they combine very traditional Chinese food with great Western selection of wine, this kind of, or cocktails. The concept is also part of like Shanghai. It's like a combination of West and East together. Location-wise, we are in a country where Feng Shui means a lot, right? And I'm thinking, me personally, observation for this past 17 years in China, I see a lot of restaurants opening in some certain corners of, let's say, city center. And then somehow they always shut down. That specific location is always shutting down. So I'm thinking like maybe there is really, at the end of the day, we are back to the Feng Shui energy, that this particular space doesn't work. And I've been observing this for many years. Do you ever pay attention to that kind of stuff?
My understanding of Feng Shui is like a flow of energy. But I think maybe it's not as magical or mystical as maybe factual. Like Shanghai's a port because you can come in from the sea into a safe river area where you can pull up your boat and unload, right? If Shanghai was on the edge of a rocky cliff, it wouldn't be a port city. So is that Feng Shui? Just that the reason that Shanghai has been this great port city is because of that landscape. IAPM is an amazing piece of land. I remember when it was a village with a fantastic wet market. It was then the Wating copy market moved there, and it was unbelievably busy. And then as a mall, it sits in that same location. It has metro lines, it has train lines, bus lines. That piece of land is the center of something. Now, is it a magical magnetic field, or is it just that it's in the right spot? So we've closed 3 or 4 restaurants where they never worked. They were in the wrong place. So you need to kind of sit outside the venue and look at it and get a feeling of what's moving around there. The customers at something in Wukonglu are very different to the customers at La Strada in Taikoo Li. So again, what kind of people live in that town and what would they like to eat is what you've got to work out.
Are you having bad days? You know, you put more salt than necessary or you put more spice than necessary.
I get really frustrated.
How you handle it?
Well, you might have to throw it out, or I mean, if it's not good, you can't give it to someone because that causes more damage. You know, then they say, well, I'm not coming back here. This is terrible. Or and then they tell 10 other people, and you know, people expect a lot from restaurants.
They do, yeah.
If you go to the bank and it takes an hour to do some transaction,
It's fine.
but you don't give me an hour to cook you an amazing steak or you know, roasted chicken. You're like, where's my food? I want it now. Hurry up. And what do you know about cooking? You know, it's like, hey, relax. You know, you're here to relax and enjoy yourself. Slow down a bit. Hey, can I get you a glass of wine? You know, cool down, slow down. We all need to slow down. Like, it's exciting here. I love it. But you also need to have that time where you take a breath. The name restaurant comes from to restore. You're restoring your body. You take some good food, you warm up. That's what restaurants were all about, you know. They're also about friendship and communication and meeting. Probably the saddest thing now is seeing a whole table on their iPhones not talking to each other. You know, if a friend of mine does that, I kind of say, did you want to have dinner tonight? Or did you want to be in Beijing with the person you're talking to right now?
Oh, that's a very polite way of telling them.
And I'm really self-conscious, even taking photos of the food before you eat it. It's like, you know, I want to sort of think back on this for new ideas, but do you really need to photograph everything you eat and tell everyone, look at where I've been and where I am? So I think we need to work on our own enjoyment a bit because we're kind of empty and feeding everyone else.
Leaving to eat or eating to leave?
I've always been hungry. I'm trying not to eat. I'm finding it really difficult.
Leaving to eat.
I just love food. I love eating.
We all do. We all do.
And being in a restaurant is difficult because it's always there. Oh, there's a walnut. Oh, there's a piece of cheese. Oh, there's a slice of bread. And you really have no idea what you've eaten in the end of the day. Like, it's a bit like dim sum, isn't it? You never know how much you've had. So dangerous.
Every culture has a food ingredient that outsiders always struggle with. Let's say stinky tofu in China, chou tofu, fermented fish. I think it's in Sweden. Blue cheese. Do you think people should go through that struggle to understand the food culture of specific countries?
People in general need to know more about all food in general. I love chou tofu.
You like chou tofu? The only foreigner that probably likes chou tofu. It's amazing. I cannot. Until now, I really tried hard. I just cannot.
Yeah, it's pretty strange. Most things I'm interested to try.
3 Chinese food you recommend to a foreigner?
Hong Xiao is quite magical. The Tongyou Ji, xiaolongbao, the most simple dumplings. Yeah, what is it? Ji Tui Tai, Ji Tai.
韭菜.
I'm terrible at this. And then the magic of the xiaolongbao. It's such a magical thing. And watching someone do that stuff, again, it's repetition and your body movement, your hand movement. You don't even need to measure. You know that it's the same weight every time kind of thing because you've done it so many times.
What a metaphor for life, right? When you think about it, it's like, what was it? Was it Bruce Lee saying like, I practice one kick 1,000 times instead of 1,000 different kicks? 2 travel destinations in China that you would recommend to visit?
I love the mountains of Yunnan. Done a few hikes up there where it was like 8 days just walking across fields and staying in people's homes. So you really saw a real character of how they live, what they eat, how they work. So I love going there, and the height, you feel like you're in the top of the world. In Australia, we advertise the beauty of Australia all the time. Come and visit. I don't think anyone knows how beautiful China is. It's stunning, the landscape.
Chinese word you use a lot.
听得懂吗?
听得懂吗? I thought you would say 听不懂.
Did you understand me? I talk and talk and talk, and then do you understand? 听得懂, 听得懂. Do you understand? Do you understand? What am I trying to tell you? You really need to show people. A recipe, I can give 100 people a recipe and they'll all make it different. So if you want something the same as how you've made it, you have to show people. And that's, you know, another great thing about being human, learning from each other.
one advice, something they can learn from your story?
You're not going to get it right the first time. You need to work into it. Even when the idea we have when we open is not what the restaurant becomes. So you've got to kind of do your research. You've got to have the right people around you. You've got to get the right space. You're not there to show us how creative you are. You're there to give us something that satisfies us. So if you jump around and put every exciting new idea into a pot, you're just going to get a noise, like the orchestra all playing at a different time. But if you just go really slowly and carefully and say, I can roast chicken really well, and I can add this spice from my grandmother because you understand it, then you'll get something that people understand. And they won't just be confused and lost. Yeah.
At the end, finish the sentence. China is not hard to understand. It is...
I think it's an adventure. Every day is like an adventure. So don't fight it. What's the saying? Go with the bamboo, lean with the bamboo. You've got to be a bit flexible and bend and, ultimately in any business, you want to make money. So if your customer doesn't want what you've got or doesn't like what you're telling them, it's not going to work. So they've got to be responsive to your idea. That's what you need to understand, I think.
Thank you so much, Mr. Willis. You're such a important figure. I think expat community plus what you brought to culinary industry in Shanghai and plus with your charity work that you don't really talk about. But I hope people will know about it. Thanks for being such a nice representative of expat community in Shanghai and China. And thanks for accepting the invitation.
Thank you very much.
You do a lot of charity.
Yodao, Chufan, Baobei, many charities.
Exactly. Because probably you wouldn't talk about it until I do. Why it's important to you?
I was a kid from a small country town. I went to a normal public school. I had parents that taught me good values and how to work hard. And from that, I became head chef in the Opera House in Sydney, in the Bennelong restaurant. But that wasn't enough. Then I came to China. And, 3 years ago, we had 10 restaurants. I don't really understand how. When people say, would you open a restaurant in Sydney? I say, I don't know how. And then I think, well, if I can do it here and without speaking the language, I must be able to do it in Australia. But my whole career has basically been here. So I only know the Chinese way. If you can get a kid through to high school so that they can read and they can count and that they have a sense of how things work, they can change their whole family's life, grandma, grandpa, everybody's life, their parents' life. But if you can't get them out of that situation, then they just become more of the same. And their children are the same. And they don't get out of that poverty. Everyone has a brain and hands. They just need the chance to learn how to use it.